Hello, Elaine Shauger here, APS, a Perfect Swing Academy. I am the second master to Daniel R. Shauger. He's the #1 master in the whole world of golf with his dad earned up. We are completely different from the golf world. If you want to learn something brand new, this new golf swing, how you hit it off the right side of the hip, heels up and down, and do the twisting of the wrist, completely different from the whole golf world. Listen to the master, Daniel R. Shauger. If he didn't work with my golf swing, no one would get this swing. Or Ben Hogan, or Dan Shauger. They all have to play a part in the down, under, and up.
Hello, everybody. Dan Shauger here. You are about to begin to see a series of streaming videos that are going to change everything about the way you hit the ball, about the way you think about how you hit the ball, and everything you think you know about the golf swing that you're going to find is probably wrong. I'm going to begin by telling you that I'm going to be changing your concept of what you're going to be doing. Now, to change someone's concept, it has an instant effect on the motions that the body makes. For instance, if I said to you, I want you to push the golf club in a certain way, you'd get a whole different feeling than if I said, I want you to pull it. You'd use sort of the same muscles, but the connotation and the way you're thinking about it is different, and it'll actually change the way that you move. So, as much as you think you know about the details of this swing, and I don't care if you're a touring professional, you're really going to want to study this closely, because what Mike Austin did when he broke the DNA code of the golf swing is second to nobody. And this is important stuff. I've taught it to many people. I'm sure you're going to love it no matter what level of the game you're at. I'm going to begin your learning with an understanding of how the hands move. Now, the hands, they can move in a lot of different ways, and we need to control them so that they only move in a certain way, because they're what controls the club. They also make the speed in the golf swing. A lot of times people are thinking that to make speed in the golf swing, you're going to be holding certain angles, you're going to be hitting the ball with what they call a solid contact, trying to make compression. Well, that's really not a good thought. We want to be making club head speed, and our hands are what does it. That doesn't mean we're not going to have all of the same things that everybody else is trying to attain. We're going to have compression, we're going to have club head speed, we're going to have all the angles in all the right places, but the way we think about it and the way we go about accomplishing it are going to be totally different. So let's start for a second with the hands. Now, I'm reaching my hand down like this, and I want to show you what happens to your hand if you simply tried to grab something. As soon as you do that, you can see that my knuckles don't remain in the same place and my fingers curl up. What happens instead is that my knuckles move to the side. And if I had both hands and I did that, you would see that both knuckles, and I have a little cup there and a little cup here. When you put your grip on the golf club, it is vitally important in this golf swing that we have the correct grip. If we have some kind of a grip where one hand is facing one way and one hand is facing the other, that's really not going to work for us. So if you think in terms of your palms being facing each other and you just close your fingers, then you would see what would happen to your hands. Now, does that mean that my hands have to be vertical, perfectly straight up and down when I do this? No, they can be a little bit tilted, but however much they tilt, the other hand has to do the same amount. So we don't want one hand turning and the other one not, or one hand turning and the other one not. If they turn a little bit, they're going to turn together. How much do they turn? That's going to have to do with how you naturally bring the club head back to the ball. But I can tell you this, it's either going to be straight up and down or no more than 15 degrees tilted toward your power hand. So if you're right-handed, your thumbs would be tilted about 15 degrees toward your power hand, and if they're not right-handed, they'd be tilted 15 degrees toward your left hand, if you're left-handed. And if you're left-handed, they'll be tilted 15 degrees toward your left hand, maximum, not more than that. Why not more than that? Well, we want to keep our club head totally under control without controlling it. Now that sounds crazy, but it's really what you have to learn how to do. You have to learn how to relax your wrists and your hands so that the motions that we make in the backswing, the hands can respond to that as the club swings. And because we have our grip on the club in such a way that we have control of that club face and we return that club face all the time, we'll never have to worry about what our club head's doing when it goes through the ball. So hitting it squarely and solidly will be largely because of what centrifugal force. Hitting it squarely and hard will largely be because of hitting it squarely and hitting it squarely and hard then will become mostly a product of three things: gravity, which is going to help you bring your club toward the ground; centrifugal force, which is a force that's going to pull the club away from you; and the third thing is the return of muscles that you stretch when you make your backswing. Now that's an important thing. Part of our concept here is to get the understanding that our muscles are going to move freely. We're not going to be doing anything forceful. We want the club to swing through here, relaxed and easily. So our concept now will be, so, starting with your concept, I want you to lose the concept of locking your hips in a barrel and trying to wind up your spine. If you do that, you're going to not have the power we have, and you're also going to potentially hurt yourself, and you're going to make your whole golf swing not work very well. What I want you to think instead is, I want a freedom of motion, so that when I move to my right leg, I just kind of turn my whole body over there. And when I go back to my left leg, I just kind of turn my whole body over there. Now that's not exactly what we're doing, and when we get further into the golf swing, when we start dealing with the pivot, you're going to be learning exactly how that works. But right now in our concept, I want you to have the concept that you're not trying to lock anything, you're not trying to hold anything, you're allowing your body to turn fully one way and the other. I never want you to think of trying to hold an angle as you come into the ball. At no point in the golf swing are we holding anything. If you want to throw a ball far, you can't hold an angle until some point in the swing and then kind of try to do it. If you look at a baseball player throwing a ball, you can see that his body comes first, his arm comes second, his arm straightens, and the last thing that happens is the wrist responds. Now, the ball is held back for what? Because it has weight. When your body starts coming, it's bringing your arm. Your arm is not going to be going faster than your body. It's going to be going the same speed as your body. So when we step, our arm is coming, our arm extends, our hand relaxes, and the ball gets thrown. And that's going to be a lot of how we conceive the golf swing. I never want you to conceive having to roll your forearms over. If you have the thought in mind that I'm going to take my club head, which is now coming hustle first, get it square to the ball, and then turn it so that it's leaving going toe first, you've got the wrong concept. I want your concept to not be anything about the club face at all. I don't even want you to think about the club face. I want you to know that because of the way you got your grip on the club and the body movements that we make to position it correctly at the top, which will make it go there all the time to a perfect slot, we'll position the club in such a manner that if we make a good pivot and we simply get the club moving and let it go, that it'll go through square and hit the ball solidly. So your concept already is beginning to change. As I say these different things to you, you are virtually thinking in a different way about what you do. And I want you to keep these thoughts in mind because ultimately it's your concept of what you're doing that makes you do what you're doing. I mean, when's the last time you went in the refrigerator to get a beer? Just had to steer your hand around the mayonnaise and the ketchup to come out with the beer. You kind of do it because you're thinking, get the beer. And so you don't think about going around that, you just get it. I mean, when's the last time you went in the refrigerator to get a beer and came out with the mayonnaise? Doesn't happen. So our concept of what we're doing will ultimately be a mental picture that we'll have to understand our golf swing totally. And I can't overemphasize how important it is to not think that anything that you're going to see in these lessons is trivial. I want you to study every single part of it very carefully. Go over and over and over these videos. The reason we have a one-year membership is so that you can go back and review. And you're going to be amazed at how many things that you're going to find that you thought you knew when you review it the second and the third times, and 10 and a half, 11 months later, you're going to be looking at it going, you know, he said that and I thought I knew what he meant, but now that I understand the feeling of this and that, now now I see why he said that. So everything I'm going to say to you there's nothing trivial here. Every little detail has importance, or I wouldn't say it. I'm not here just talking to hear myself talk. I'm here talking so that you can hear me talk. Thank you for coming aboard. We're going to start by learning what the hands do.